Hey cool cats and lazy dogs. In today's video we are going to take a look at 2 shotgun microphones for pulling dialogue in noisy environments. Keep it locked. Over the past several years, I've been using 2 microphones for pulling dialogue in noisy environments, those being the long shotgun Sennheiser MKH70 and the short shotgun Sanken CS-3e. Both microphones have performed admirably in their roles over the past several years. So in today's video, I'm going to take a look at some previous footage with interviews I've conducted with these microphones, as well as conducting some new comparisons to gain a better understanding on the sonic characteristics between these 2 mics.
This is not a dogfighter, not at all. It's big and heavy. It's got a lot of inertia. You roll the controls and you wait, and she might think about it, and then a couple seconds later she'll roll with you.
We're 143 members total, and the teamwork that goes into this demonstration, this flight demonstration, and we want everybody to see that and to be inspired at what's possible when you join a high-performing team like the Navy Marine Corps.
And then on some of the weekends during the year, we get the fortunate opportunity to take them on the road and participate in air shows all around the country, specifically with the TAC demo performance profile, which you're going to see today.
Once the airplane got to Texas in the early 70s, they spent a few years just working on the airplane and getting it flyable. The next issue was funding the airplane to keep it flyable. It was the airplane was and is very expensive to fly.
The Junkers A50 Junior. It has been accepted as an FAA SLSA aircraft and had its acceptance flight for the first time here in the U.S. just a few weeks ago.
You're going to see especially the fact that you get to interact with a large number of the SIG Sauer employees, and what you're going to see is not only is the product fantastic, the product is just second to none, but you will see the passion behind the employees behind the product as well.
I've done live test jumps on these things. I don't wear one while I fly. I fly a Cub, and I don't fly high enough to use it.
Home use, easier to use for kids if no adult was there. And once again, it's just very simple to use, very user-friendly.
I think about how blessed I am to live in America, to be able to do what we do, thanks to the men and women who continue to sacrifice their time and efforts to protect our freedom.
This rifle system is for the Army, chambered in the 6.8 by 51. It does also have a quick change barrel here that you can go ahead and swap it out to 7.62 or 6.5 Creedmoor.
We crossed the ocean in 2 waves, and we were in that first wave that made it across with almost no problems with weather. It was the second wave, they struggled with weather around Greenland.
I would say probably closer to an airsoft gun. You know, the out to a certain distance it starts to drop a little bit more. But yeah, pretty realistic to an air gun or something like that.
We are the last ones to touch it before it takes off, and the first ones to receive it whenever it comes down. We are that safety factor for the air crew to make sure that everything they need is taken care of for the jet.
It's freedom. I mean, you know, the world shrinks whenever you learn to fly, and for somebody with a disability, that means a lot. You know, it's less time to travel, it's less time, you know, rather than driving somewhere, it takes you less time to get there, you can go more places.
I wanted it to reignite my passion for flying. This plane has done all 3 of those missions with, exceeded all of my expectations.
And people love to see things work. You know, you can believe that something exists, but when you see it do what it did, I think that's more effective.
This show right here is kind of the start to the flying season for most everybody else in the country. So to be down here with this energy, people get to see what we're doing.
And again, part of the things you kind of look forward to coming out here is, you know, the good music. We normally have an acoustic group. We normally have a rock band. We have some mood music like the steel drums.
In this test of the Sennheiser MKH70 and the Sanken CS-3e, I'm in an untreated room, and the microphones are about a foot up above me. Now, the Sennheiser does have the high boost engaged, and now I'm testing to see how well they perform with their off and on axis response. So right now I'm moving to my left of both microphones, and now I'm moving back towards center, and now I'm moving to the right of both microphones, and as you can tell, there's probably going to be a difference. And now I'm moving to the front of the microphones, just in case an interviewee moves that way, or let's say an interviewee decides they want to move backwards as they're rocking during an interview. And of course, I am back on axis. Now, what about turning the head? So what if the interviewee decides that they want to turn their head to either side? This is what it sounds like when the head is turned to the left. And this is what it sounds like when the head is turned to the right. Now, what if they decide they want to just spin around completely? Well, this is what it sounds like when they're not facing the microphones at all. So, as you can tell, there's definitely a difference in the sound response between the two of them. Now, I also do want to get some ambient sound. So let's have no talking and just see what the self noise on these is. And that is a quick self-noise test on the Sennheiser MKH70 and the Sanken CS-3e. Let's get this back to the computer and see how they compare. This is an outdoor test of the Sennheiser MKH70 on my left and the Sanken CS-3e on my right to see how well these microphones perform at rejecting ambient audio from the sides and the rear of the capsules while picking up audio in front of the microphone, especially at a distance. I'm currently about 5 feet away from the microphones, and there's not too much ambient audio, but there is quite a bit of wind rustling through the trees right now. This is a test of the Sennheiser MKH70 on my left and the Sanken CS-3e on my right. Currently, I am about 15 feet away from the microphones. They are pointed directly at me, and we'll see how well these perform in comparison to each other at rejecting the ambient audio to the sides and the rear while picking up the audio in front of the capsules at a distance. Continuing this test of the Sennheiser MKH70 and the Sanken CS-3e, I'm currently approximately 20 feet away from the microphone capsules to see how well they do at pulling audio at a distance. Now I am approximately 25 feet away from the microphone capsules. With this, the Sennheiser MKH70 and the Sanken CS-3e, I'm speaking at a normal voice, and the only real ambient audio is just a lot of wind rustling. Now I am approximately 30 feet away from the microphone capsules, speaking at a normal voice. Seeing how well these microphones compare and pull audio at a distance. I am approximately 35 feet away from the capsule with the Sennheiser MKH70 and the Sanken CS-3e. Test to see how well these microphones pull audio at a distance. I am approximately 40 feet away from these microphone capsules with the Sennheiser MKH70 and the Sanken CS-3e to see how well these microphones pull audio at a distance. I'm speaking at a normal voice, but there's quite a bit of wind. This is now a test of the Sennheiser MKH70 and the Sanken CS-3e. In an outdoor environment with ambient audio, I have a diesel engine running to my right, and then I have a radio playing some talk show to my left, currently about 5 feet from the microphones, speaking at a normal voice. I'm now about 10 feet away from the microphone capsules, seeing how well they perform, picking audio up at a distance with the ambient audio. Again, 10 feet away, regular voice, diesel engine to my right, radio to my left. I'm currently about 15 feet away from the only company I buy from, period. Call Advance Gold now at 800-900-8000 for 100% free gold guide. See exactly how gold can safeguard your wealth. Again, call 800-900-8000. I now about 20 feet away from the microphone capsules. Speaking at all voice, radio on my left, diesel running on my right. Let's see how well these microphones do.
Merci beaucoup. There is a key in the room with voice.
I now about 25 feet.
However you want, Babbel makes it easy. Try Babbel for free at babbel.com. BABBEL.com.
Progressive knows finding your new home was a dream come true. You wanted to walk up with central air and a skylight. Progressive can't save you from your noisy neighbors, but we can save you money when you bundle your home and auto with us. Get a quote at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company affiliates and other insurers not available in all states.
Frederick from the hot seat, letting you know that if you missed last Sunday's show, that is A-okay.
This is now a test of the Sennheiser MKH70 and the Sanken CS-3e, pointing 45-degree angles from the bottom up towards my chest with no distracting audio, so let's see how well these microphones pull my voice in this configuration. This test now has the microphones at approximately a 45-degree angle pointed up towards my chest, approximately 5 feet away from the microphone, speaking at a normal voice. I have a radio playing to my right or left and a diesel engine idling to my right. Let's see how well these microphones pull my voice out from the ambient audio at 45 degrees from the bottom pointing up. This test of the Sanken CS-3e and the Sennheiser MKH70 is once again outdoors, but there is a difference. The Sennheiser MKH70 now has its high boost engaged. Both microphones are about 3 feet from my chest at about a 45-degree angle, going straight into a Canon XF605 on the second gain setting on the manual controls. So let's see how these microphones compare with the Sennheiser with the high boost engaged. This test of the Sennheiser MKH70 and the Sanken CS-3e is once again outdoors with ambient audio. I have a radio playing to my left and I have a diesel engine idling to my right. But the difference now is that the Sennheiser MKH70 has its high boost engaged. They are approximately 3 feet from my chest at a 45-degree angle, going straight into a Canon XF605 on the second setting on the manual gain controls. So again, let's see how the Sennheiser MKH70 with its high boost engage compares to a Sanken CS-3e. We are now in a bathroom to see how well the Sennheiser MKH70 and the Sanken CS-3e handle a highly reverberant space. In this bathroom, obviously, you're going to have a lot of reflections coming off of the tile and the porcelain. Definitely not an ideal location, definitely not a space in which you would normally conduct an interview, but I'm doing this to see the extremes and how well the reflections are handled by the microphones while still pulling out a human voice. These are both plugged in directly to this Canon 605 on the second gain setting on the dials. Again, we have the Sennheiser MKH70 and the Sanken CS-3e. They're probably about 1.5 1.75 from my chest, 45 degrees angled upwards. So let's see how well these microphones handle this kind of reverberant space. After reviewing my field footage and my comparison footage, I've definitely learned a few new things about these microphones. They have their differences and their similarities. Now, the first thing I noticed is that the Sennheiser MKH70 does sound a bit more muffled, both on access and off access, right up until the high boost is engaged. When that high boost is engaged, it sounds much more clear, and it actually sounds very similar in certain ways to the Sanken CS-3e. Now, the Sanken CS-3e, though it has a little bit less rejection in comparison to the Sennheiser MKH70, actually has quite a good reach at pulling dialogue at a distance with ambient audio for the size. The big difference I noticed between them for the off-access is that the Sanken CS-3e definitely favors high frequencies off-access compared to the Sennheiser MKH70, especially in my outdoor test when I had the diesel engine running. The Sanken CS-3e was picking up that injection pump, which is a very high-pitch frequency, much more than the Sennheiser MKH70, which was barely picking up the injection pump. So if you're using these in those scenarios, and you have a lot of high frequencies off to the sides, the Sanken CS-3e might not be the best choice, and the MKH70 would probably be a better choice in that scenario. But they both pull dialogue at a distance. MKH70 a tad better, but the CS-3e definitely holds its own given its size. Some other things that I noticed, especially to my surprise, is how well the MKH70 holds up to reverberant spaces, especially in a bathroom. I was expecting that to be much more echoey than the Sanken CS-3e, but it actually sounded pretty good in comparison, whereas the Sanken seemed to have a bit more reverberance to it. So that wraps up today's comparison video of the long shotgun Sennheiser MKH70 and the short shotgun Sanken CS-3e. I hope this has been a help to anyone who's been looking for a comparison of these two microphones and how best to apply them in the field. Until next time, this is Alexander Calder-Spinelli of Longbow Media, signing off. Catch you later, cool cats.